Hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Great to meet you and great to speak with you today with our regular weekday, Monday through Friday Q&A session where I'm taking your questions live 5 p.m. Pacific to 5:30 Pacific on TikTok every Monday through Friday, immigration lawyer John, John, and on Facebook on Fridays, Mondays and Fridays on Facebook. Might change in the future, who knows, we'll let you know if it does change, but for now, Fridays, Facebook, the JQK Immigration Law Firm page. You can check it out under JQK Law Firm. And the recording of this on YouTube, where you can like, subscribe, and ring that bell to get the latest updates, which includes these live videos, long 30-minute videos, clips 2 or 3 minutes at a time, answering your key questions, along with 10-15-minute videos breaking down subjects like the diversity visa and how adjustment works there, like marriage green card cases, what are the 3 main parts that should be premiered pretty soon, and a lot more information from there. And also the Instagram page where I post samples of my approval notices so you get an idea of what the USCIS timelines are and what other timelines are, although they vary and the results vary in general, which leads me to the next thing, which is this information is educational only, general education, not intended for individual legal advice. You should consult with an attorney in private about your case to see what's going on. I can't give individual legal advice until I review your paperwork and talk with you and know more about you. That's why it's impossible to guide you here in that sense, but it's a good resource to have to learn more about immigration law. And with that, let's get it started. All right, so we have our first question that trickled in. User 862 asks, I applied for I-130 in December, but had not received any answer till today. That's normal, you just have to wait. This timeline is not normal. I'm not sure what you're stressing out about. No one's ever said it'll take any less time than that. One note I do want to talk about before really getting into it is an article I read from the Washington Post, which said, although many cases like green card cases and work permits are being approved in the United States, people are not getting the documents because the government broke it and got out of its contract with the company that was physically printing the EADs, the cards, the work permit cards, and the green cards themselves, lawful permanent residency cards, and have not changed it up to have a new company do it or source it internally because of the financial situation. And so you may face some difficulties where your green card case or your work permit has been approved, but you can't get the evidence of it because the actual card is not coming in the mail. It's just disastrous how things are working out in the immigration system. It's very sad, very depressing. And it's mind-boggling how every day there's some attack on the legal immigration system. People who are coming here, following the rules, educated, have money, have family, all that kind of stuff, the cream of the crop. And it's not to say that everyone is not the cream of the crop, but the stereotypes they put for those who are against immigration, they're just shutting it down for everybody. It's a hateful way of looking at the movement of people. But be prepared for that. That is something that's happening. It might hit your case as well. Masood asks, I have a G1 visa till November 2020. After expire, can I stay in the U.S. as a legal? A G1 visa, I believe that's some sort of a diplomatic visa. Please clarify. You have to have valid status in the United States. So let's talk about this issue to clarify. People have misunderstandings of this, and this may answer your question. A visa is a document issued by a U.S. embassy or consulate that gives you permission to knock at the door of the United States to be able to enter in. But once you're in the United States, the time you have here is depending on the status that you have. It's not the visa. So let me give you an example. A person may have a student visa they got from the embassy that's valid for 3 months or 5 years, whichever it is. Once they enter the United States, the visa doesn't apply anymore. Now you're in status, and as long as you're going to school, it's valid. Or let me give you another example. You might be on a tourist visa, and you get a 5-year tourist visa. However, once you enter the United States, usually that tourist visa will only stay valid for 6 months in most cases. So the visa length itself is just how much time you have to knock at the door of the United States to come in. But once you're in, a different time scheme goes into a different status, and I-94 is the form that you look for that comes into play. So be mindful of that, because I had an Australian client, for example, who had a 1-year tourist visa, and she came to the United States as a tourist and stayed 7 or 8 months because she thought she had a year-long visa. And so she was like, okay, I'm here, that's good. But no, it's 6 months status. The visa is only a year to come in. And on another case where a person had a 3-month tourist visa, and they came to me after entering saying, we need to extend it, we need more time. I only got 3 months. And I said, no, you got a full 6 months based on your form I-94. That's the form that breaks down how much time you have once you enter. Your visa has just had 3 months to be able to enter the United States, but after that, different rules apply. So in this case, where the gentleman asked, my G visa is going to expire in 2021 sometime. If you're in the United States and maintaining lawful status, like the student visa example, if your visa expires, your F1 student visa expires, it doesn't matter if you're in the United States. Now, if you leave, you will need to get a new visa to be able to come back in. But if you're here and you're maintaining status, that's fine. And one thing to be watchful for is make sure to keep your passport valid, hopefully more than 6 months until above the end date that you're going to be in the United States. That's the way to do it. You always want to have a long-lasting, valid passport with a late expiration date. Be careful of that. That could be an issue sometimes. Alexander asks, I-765 approved, marriage-based, waiting for the card. Can I apply for jobs in the meantime? Well, this kind of goes to what I talked about earlier. Maybe you have to hold on for a while until you get the actual card. Can you apply for a job? Well, it's going to be hard because the employers will want to see the work permit. The paper is not the work permit. They may not be able to deploy you because the I-9 form you have to complete, they may well ask for that. I don't remember the technical rules. I don't do I-9 verification kind of legal work, so I don't know the nuances of that. But practically speaking, the employer may want to see the work permit and not permit you to continue working without it, even if you have an approval notice. But I have to check out the I-9 verification content. I don't have that off the top of my head. I was going to say I'm allowed to work in the United States. 143 says, immigration stop need green card. I'm not sure what you're saying. NEE is not a word. Mazda says, hello, hope you're doing great. Thank you. You as well. Vikram says, I'm an asylum since 2 years, about to renew my work permit. I want to visit India. Is that possible? I don't know. I don't know your background, your case. That's not enough information for me to do it. It's kind of weird that you have asylum for 2 years without filing for a green card too. So obviously there's a lot going on there that you need a private consultation to talk about. Samira asks, is fiancé visa taking six to 3 months? That's kind of a weird way to say it. Fiancé visa is several parts to a fiancé visa. So it could take 6 months, take 3 months. With regards to timelines, just consult with an attorney in private. Hi Abid, hi to you. Harbach says, what do you think about DACA? Well, I think what I think about doesn't really matter, but I'm glad you brought that up. It's an important note that one of my colleagues did file a new DACA case. So this is a person who didn't apply for DACA when it was valid, but now the Supreme Court said that President Trump has to redo the cancellation paperwork and things have to go back to how they were. This colleague filed an I-821D. That's a form application for deferred action for childhood arrivals. These are people who came as kids and stayed here, and the rest, most people already know what DACA is at this point. And the case was rejected, and the rejection notice said the administration has canceled this program. They're not accepting new applications. So be mindful of that's happening right now. Again, it may change tomorrow. We don't know what's going on. These things are going day by day, so there's no resolute hard answers on this. But for now, a colleague tried. They returned the case. We may have to wait another week or so to see what happens next and just play it by ear. That's what's going on with DACA. Farhad asks, I was done CNA, but I don't have a work permit. I was a student visa and lose my status. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what CNA you're talking about. This you should really just talk with an immigration attorney in private. It's not clear what's going on in your case. Roy Torres says, I came illegally to United States. I got married with a U.S. citizen. My asylum case is pending. These are things you should consult the private attorney, not really come in a public forum and talk about. Zadi, thanks for sharing the live. Alex says, can you come on a B2 visa and change to a student visa? It is possible to change from a tourist visa status B2 to a student visa status F1, but there's complications. I don't accept these cases myself. It's a very complex situation. First of all, when you enter the United States, when you get a tourist visa, you're telling the government that you're coming here for tourism purposes, which means you're coming temporarily to stay here and you don't intend on staying longer. Just coming here to check out the sites, see some people, and leave. However, if you then file for a student visa, especially soon after arriving, they may question you and say, well, you said you're coming temporarily, but all of a sudden you registered for a school. That doesn't go together. Were you lying to us? And potentially you could get hit with misrepresentation. So you got to be prepared for stuff like that. Secondly, when you do apply for a change of status to an F1 student status, or they say student visa, but student status of the United States, changing status from a B2 status to an F1 status, the start date of your school, whatever that date is, you have to be in F1 status within 30 days ahead of that. And this is a complicated subject to try to explain. But essentially, you have to maintain valid status up to within 30 days of the start date of your program. But if you came on a student visa, you might have a 6-month student status. You may, tourist visa, tourist status, and you may decide to go to a school in the 4th month of your stay, a 6-month stay. So all of a sudden, you only have 2 months left on your tourist visa stay. However, if you're going to a semester-based school, the next semester may not start in like 4 months. So what happens is you're gonna have a 2-month gap in there of being out of status, and that becomes a problem. Now the system they had to help that is you have to not only submit an F1 change of status, you also have to submit a B2 extension, which is to hold you over. However, once your F1 is approved, your tourist visa status also has to be approved within 30 days of the start date of school. Now what I just said is very complicated, doesn't make much sense, and it's true, it doesn't make much sense. It's a really bad way that they've designed it for people that are doing regular university services. It's very easy to fall out of status and violate your status. And so the reason I explained it very briefly like that is to show the complications involved with changing from a B2 to an F1. So I normally do not recommend people do that, especially if they're going to do a semester-based school. These are schools that start in the fall and in the spring, typical stuff. Now, if you're going to enroll in a school that has a semester or system that restarts every 30 days or 45 days, those kind of schools, a lot of times these are language schools, those are easier to adjust to this change of status system. But I think I may have lost a lot of you already about what I'm talking about. It's complicated enough where I say consult with an attorney and be very weary of just someone saying, oh, this is easy to do from a B2 tourist status to an F1 status. There's a lot of complications involved. I don't like doing them, too much risk. But it's possible. I usually recommend it to just get the visa to come back in, but sometimes you may have a program you want to start. Just be careful of the program. I'd be mindful of not starting a full semester-based program that has these fixed start dates and the schools are less flexible. And that's my talk about student visa as much as I want to talk about right here. It gets complicated. On Facebook, Nusha says, what's the effect of the recent executive order on the number of applications for employment-based green cards and adjustment of status? USCIS may furlough staff. How is that going to affect wait times and employment-based categories? Well, when you have these people not coming to work, it's going to affect the timelines of the categories, so it's not going to get approved. And those that are approved overseas can't even do the interview to come back in. So it's just delays packed into it. But one of the main problems with these travel bans has been the psychological effect on the applicants. So a lot of people, and I see this every day when I'm talking here live, think that the immigration department is closed and not accepting applications, which is a nightmare because they're not submitting it because they think it's closed, they're not getting proper education and not consulting with attorneys to ask about it. So we're seeing massive drops in people filing cases, and that's one of the reasons that USCIS Immigration Office allegedly is going bankrupt and running out of money because people are not filing cases. And the reason is because many of them think that you cannot file cases. So the executive orders affect people going to the U.S. Embassy to get a visa. But if you're in the United States, or if you want to start a work-based, employment-based, so like let's say you have an employer in the United States that wants to start the green card process, 100% they can start the PERM I-140 process. Later on, when you go to the embassy interview, that's stalled. But they could do the rest in the meantime, but everything is shut down because people mistakenly think that they're not accepting these petitions. So not only is it President Trump tightening things to make it more hard and more difficult, but it's also people misunderstanding what's actually happening. So if you have a good case, go talk with a lawyer and file for it. Don't hesitate, don't put it back, because that's not a wise thing to do in this kind of situation. Lucid asks, what do you think about ICE deporting college kids who don't have green cards? But that doesn't matter. I don't answer things about what I think. It's just this is the situation we're dealing with. Nusha says, so even though less staff, the applications are less, so the wait times may not be affected. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's crystal ball kind of stuff. Probably wait times are going to be affected. That's the whole goal. But you know, less. I don't know, Nusha. It is what it is. You just got to be patient. Abid says, actually, I applied for my wife almost like 2 years, and right now my case is in the visa center. Okay, so you got to work with the National Visa Center and get that paperwork done and await your interview whenever that comes. Ivy says, can you age out on DACA? No, the age out on DACA is when, at the beginning, when you could prove you entered the United States. That's the age out, not on the backside. Alexander says, you're awesome. Thank you so much. You're awesome as well. Thanks for joining. User 862 says, thanks. You're welcome. Alexander follows up, are new admitted international students allowed to apply for F1 visa with new executive order? Newly admitted students. there's a lot more we need to know, because what happened with the current decision by ICE regarding student visas is that if your program is online based, they will not issue the visa, and you have to leave the United States or else you'll go into removal proceedings. So when you're just talking about admissions and stuff like that, that's not the whole picture of what kind of things you're going through, and that's why this question is too broad to be answered here. We need to break it down to see this individual person, what's going on, because you also might be getting a student visa from France. Well, you can't if you're in France because there's a COVID-19 travel ban against Europeans. So there's much more nuances and angles to these kind of things that make it impossible for me to give you an answer to a question like that. And that's when you should just, it seems like you have enough questions where you should just consult with an immigration in private to see what your situation is. User Fortnite, thank you for the comment. So let's see. Kyle says, thank you for your information. You're welcome. You're welcome. You know, I try to be as detailed and explanatory as possible. A lot of these things you can, and I have to be careful because keep in mind, this is a mass audience. There's sometimes tens of thousands of people see some of these videos, and I have to be very careful not to say something that could be misunderstood and lead to problems. Because frequently, and to be honest, I've been doing immigration law for a lot of years. I've talked to tens of thousands of people one-on-one. What I find, most people, law is complicated for them, and they, unless I repeat something 2 or 3 times and give it to them in writing, they usually misunderstand what I say. So I gotta be very cautious, and it's taken me almost 10 years before coming live on a show like this to talk about it, to make sure I have enough coordination and understanding of immigration law and coordination to be able to talk about it, to be careful not to say something that could be problematic, or people are gonna take that information, misunderstand it, and then really go and get itself into trouble. So I gotta be very cautious in the way I answered your questions, and that's that. And with regards to how things are gonna go in the future with things taking longer or started, that's really just guessing the future. I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't really want to come here and scare people into hiring me. I don't want to scare people into watching more of my videos. I'm happy with having less video counts and less followers, but not just talking about hot topics that get people riled up. I don't want to be a Fox News, CNN kind of garbage. I just really want to get the facts down, and you know, so be it. I'll have less subscribers, less attention. It is what it is, but that's the way to go. Thank you, Alexander. It's very nice of you. User Fortnite, thank you so much for the points. Bashir asks, couple weeks, I am waiting for fingerprint appointment. How long can it take? Just whenever the time comes, that'll happen. Again, thanks Fortnite for sending the rainbow puke on, what's it called, TikTok. So, you know, TikTok's been in the news. A lot of people are saying, you know, be careful, it's a Chinese app. You know, just be mindful of that. I do love TikTok. I think it's the best social media application out there. I would recommend people use it properly. I get a lot of education personally from it. But you know, because security is something you have to pay attention to, especially as a lawyer. I have people's contact information, their biographic information, a lot of important stuff, and even Chinese nationals and other countries. What I had to do is have multiple cell phones, and on one of them that's not connected to my primary emails and my you know, online cloud accounts, all that, I put the TikTok app on that phone so I can do this live with them and use the other phone separately, so I keep a security barrier on there. Because I think people should use TikTok. It's a wonderful design app, great information. It's my favorite. I don't even like social media. I only use it for business purposes, except for TikTok. When I have a chance, I'll watch some videos there, learn some stuff. You know, I get away from people, the dancing girls and all that stuff on TikTok. It's kind of weird, but you just unfollow those, or not unfollow, you just say, don't show me these, and eventually some really good content about business, about life, psychology, all this stuff's there. It's wonderful. I love it. User Fortnite says it's a great way to come across new people. Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely. I've learned so much. I've become a better human being, a better attorney, all this kind of stuff. So I really have to give it to TikTok as to how it's happening. Thanks, User Fortnite. Thanks for all of that. So yeah, the big issues right now, the people with student visas in regards to immigration, what are they gonna do? They have to take some sort of in-person classes to be able to stay here. And then the other aspect is what's gonna happen with the green card issuance, the work permit issuance. Are they gonna print these or not? Is USCIS gonna shut down? It's really a nightmare disaster kind of happening in slow motion, a slow motion car wreck happening, alongside with all the fears of COVID-19, all the fears of the economic situation, potential wars with Iran and China. This is how it must have felt like in 1915 before World War I, or 1930 for the Great Depression and subsequent World War II. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'm being pessimistic what I'm saying, but it's a crazy situation we're finding ourselves in. But you know, welcome to 2020. Who would have thought? So we'll get through all this. You know, I'm optimistic. I'm every day feeling like better and better, even with all this stuff. and just have children. And I'm very optimistic things are going to better because we have the ability to communicate with each other. And you know, in the past, we were locked out from being able to talk with each other. Sometimes in the way past, like, you know, 100 years ago, we could only talk as far as the village people next door. And so if you're in a village where a lot of idiots were there, you'd be kind of screwed in life. But now, you know, I could go and bypass my local village, my local community, and go find somebody from across the world, connect with them, learn from them. And the power of that, I think, is a game changer in the long term of the United States. It could be negative. We have two knuckleheads getting together causing a ruckus, but I think from what I've seen, the chances of optimistic good stuff happening is very high as well. John asks, can you apply on Uber while waiting on EAD and marriage-based green card? Can you apply? Well, you can apply, do whatever you want, but can you work without work authorization? That is a violation of immigration status. So that's problematic. And then Uber is going to need a social security number. If you don't have one, that could potentially sometimes in some states be considered a fraud if you make up a social security number, use someone else's. So there's a lot of things going on. I can't recommend that you violate your status. Applying on its own may be okay, but what does applying entail? What do you have to tell them to Uber? And you know, now in California, even if you're Uber, potentially you might have to be a W-2 employee. They may ask for your immigration documents, and so you have that. What are you going to show them? It's problematic. I understand if you want to work on Uber, you might have some financial situations right now, but generally you want to wait and not mess around. But you know, it is what it is. All right, let's go and see if there's any more questions. John says, I already got the social security number. Okay, that's good. So yeah, applying itself is not actually working. So as long as you don't work, and that shouldn't be a problem. But you know, having said that, some immigration officer might say, oh, you applied, you're actually working. And you're like, no, I didn't. And then what are you going to do, you know? So you got to be very careful. A lot of stuff with immigration, the law is one place, but there's a person that has to approve it at the end of the day, and their opinion is what matters. Now, they might have a factual opinion, a rightful opinion based on the law, which is good, but as we've seen in life, you could have people that just make stuff up. And that is everywhere, not just immigration. That goes in schools, some teachers, that goes with cops. You've seen they beat the hell out of people, but you know, it's not all cops. Some firefighters go and set fires. They're crazy like that. So you never know the person you're dealing with. So you always want to be as safe as possible. Really important stuff like immigration, because the consequences are so harsh, you know. And that's why I'd be mindful of that. But you got it, John. Thank you so much. Is it John M? Yeah, thank you. So I hope things work out. You got the social security number. Work permit should be coming soon. But again, this situation where they might not be printing the work permit, such a nasty nightmare scenario that the administration is putting. They just try to kick people when they're down. It's just unbelievable that people like this exist that do that. Ziggy asks, I just got a denial of my application and N400 as a citizenship because I got arrested. Yeah, you shouldn't have filed for that. That's it. John, we'll keep you updated. Yeah, please do, John. Please keep me updated. Let me know if you get the work permit. And because I'm not sure if every work permit's going to be delayed. They might have like some printed, some not. They might figure it out. But hopefully you'll get it because it sucks. It takes long enough to get a work permit nowadays. It used to take 2 months to get a work permit. Now sometimes 6-7 months you still don't get it. It sucks. But with regards to, this is an important thing that I frequently get people who file for N400 naturalization, the application for citizenship in the United States. They've had a green card. They satisfied everything except they had gotten arrested or had some sort of charge and or had the court case pending, but it was for a relatively minor crime. So they go ahead and file for citizenship, or their probationary period is not done and they file for citizenship. That's an automatic denial of citizenship. So, you know, don't do something like that. Don't file. Go talk with a lawyer. If you have any criminal history of interaction, any kind, 100%, you should contact an immigration lawyer and talk about it, because you just wasted $680 or $715 or $20, whatever it is, citizenship nowadays, months of your life. Go to the interview just for them to easily fail it because of the mandatory failure, mandatory denial of a person who has a probationary period or certain crimes in the last 5 years. So you gotta be careful of that. Don't waste your time and money. John says the EAD for him took 5 months. And 5 months isn't bad. I had one that took 8 months, and the client was so frustrated. He really needed to work and stuff. It sucked. Ziggy says, how long I have to wait to apply again? Ziggy, I don't know. I have to see your criminal history, exactly what's going on. as I said just seconds ago, go consult with an attorney in private, because you have to look at your conviction record, your arrest record, to see what exactly happened. It's not good to do anything else. Don't apply for yourself. Here I could confidently say 100% you need to consult with professional help on doing this, because you have arrest history. There's no way around it. Sometimes say, okay, maybe not. But if you have arrest at all, 100%, you got to talk to qualified help to get guidance on how this is going to work. All right, thank you for everyone who's joining on TikTok and on Facebook as well. I enjoy really doing these videos, and as good questions like this come up, it's good to talk about, and it makes the time fly. This half an hour we do every Monday through Friday. TikTok Immigration Lawyer John at 5 p.m. Pacific, and on Mondays and Fridays on Facebook. Tuesdays and Thursdays Instagram. If I get the ability to do live on LinkedIn, I'm probably gonna switch out one of those days. I'm debating whether to do a live on Twitter too, so we'll see. We'll see how, maybe add Twitch in there. I don't know. We'll see how it is. But right now, TikTok and Facebook are working pretty well, and they're recording here on YouTube. So we're reaching the end of the show. If you all have one or two more questions, let me know. We'll take that. And if not, we'll move on and be back on Monday. I'm sure over the weekend we'll get some crazy immigration news. And we'll have stuff to talk about then. But right now, the big thing is what's going to happen with these thousands and thousands and tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of students who are here, where their school says we're going to do classes online because we're afraid of COVID-19 and bringing students in. They will have to leave the United States. How are they going to deal with it? What are the financial costs to the university from dropping so many students at once? Are they going to go bankrupt universities? Many were going bankrupt anyway. So what's going to happen to our society? It's very destructive, the things that are happening. This administration doesn't really think things through past maybe a day or two, it seems, but hopefully cooler heads prevail. User Fortnite says, I have to go and marry my fiance or else she will leave me. I'm on H-1B. Too scared to travel. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. Even if you're fine yourself, right now there's a ban on H-4s, so you won't be able to bring your fiance to the United States, so that's an issue right there. But review your case with an attorney, check out your visa, check out your status, your pay stubs, all that kind of stuff to see what's going on, and do it. John says, can you please upload today's Q&A on YouTube? Fortunately, it won't be today. Today's a Friday. My staff who does the uploading and editing probably won't have it ready until Monday or Tuesday. So unfortunately, you won't see it until then. Yeah, sorry about that, John. It takes a little bit. You got to go edit some stuff out, clean out some stuff on the video. But if there's a specific portion of a question that you asked that you want to hear again, let me know now, because I'm about to end it. I'll give it another minute. Just quickly ask you. I can see if I could explain it again. So yeah, at least have it there, and then you catch the video next week when it comes out. And the video page is JQK Law Firm. Definitely subscribe and get the updates there. I know catching this live every day is going to be hard if you want to catch this. It seems like I have a regular audience who likes to watch these, so it's interesting. User 49, okay, me handsome lawyer, see you tomorrow or Monday. Yeah, I'll be back on Monday. Ivy says, it's best to apply ahead of the recommended 2 or 3 months for renewal DACA. Yes, 100%. If you have DACA, you should apply way ahead of time. Maybe even file a year ahead of time. Usually it's 6 months. Nobody recommends 2 or 3 months on DACA. That's not a recommendation at all that any lawyer would tell you. 6 months at a minimum, earlier you should file. But now sometimes we're saying just try to file a year early, because if they shut it off all of a sudden, you want to have that renewal in there. But consult with an attorney in private, check out your specific case. John says, as long as it's uploaded, we're good. You got it. Thank you, John, for coming on and asking questions. And another John, I think, or is it the same John? Yeah, it is. The F1 students coming out of B2, oh, that one. Oh, that's a mouthful. I don't even think I explained it well, but I'll make a clip out of that too. But just as short of it is, when your F1 is, when you want to approve it, you have to be in valid status, and you may not have status at the time. So it makes it really troublesome as to how that's going to work out, how that game is. You have to do what's called a bridge B1 or B2 extension, and I don't even do those, but that's the problematic area. You have to keep because they take forever to accept the change of statuses too. So your semester is going to start, but your student visa status is not approved yet. So you get pushed to next semester, but then, which is like 4 or 5 months out. But at that time, when your student visa gets approved, you don't have any courses started yet. It becomes problematic. I don't think my answer is really that good, the way I'm explaining it. But John, I hope that helps. Appreciate it. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining the show and coming to ask questions. I really appreciate it. It's always good to be here. I'll see you all on Monday on Facebook, JK Law Firm, TikTok, as always, Immigration Lawyer John. If you haven't followed those pages, if you haven't, go to the YouTube page, subscribe, and ring that bell so you get more information and updates, and tell your friends so we have more of an audience. The more lively the questions are, I'm going to continue. As long as there's good questions coming repeatedly, we're going to do this. It's fun for me. If there's dry spells or there's no questions coming, it'll get boring and we'll stop. Ivy, thank you so much for your comment as well. Thank you. Until next one, God bless you. All be safe. Bye-bye.